All right, what's up? I'm Danny Suede. Welcome to Wonderneath Weekly. This is where I share what I'm wondering about every week through my perplexity searches. So here, I'll show you what we got today. We got some good ones. How do fire alarm systems in large condos work? Which I got a story about that. Explain me the 6-7 meme. Has U.S. Customs and Immigration been asking people about their views on Trump and Israel? Can river dolphins live in the ocean and vice versa? How universal is the Pareto distribution? Has Ryan Graves been discredited? And why is the job market in Sierra Leone so bad? So that's what we got. Let's start with the first one about the fire alarm systems in the condo. Why am I wondering this? Well, here's the thing. The fire alarm went off the other night. I'm up in this condo and I'm already scared of being in condos because of the earthquake situation in Bangkok. So anyways, usually I sleep with briefs. I actually like to sleep naked, but if there's an emergency, I don't want to get up and have to freaking be butt ass naked to deal with an intruder or, an emergency. So anyways, but the problem is I had no clean underwear because my laundry I sent to the laundry service and it didn't come back that day, or the next day, which it usually does. So I had no clean underwear. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to sleep naked, whatever. Sorry, I'm going to adjust this a little bit here. Whoop. What's going on? There we go. Okay. Sorry. So I was like, I'm just going to sleep naked and whatever. So anyways, middle of the night, deep REM sleep, about freaking, 3 a.m. or something. Fire alarm full goes off. I get up. I'm freaking out. And it's pitch black in my room and I'm butt ass naked. I'm trying to find some pants and like put on my pants in the dark. And I'm like tripping around and I'm like freaking out. I'm like in my delirium because I just woke up. I'm like really struggling. I didn't think to turn the light on. And so I'm freaking out. Finally get my pants on, get ready to run out. And then it turned off. So I was like sitting there. So I look in the hall, nothing. I'm looking around. Nothing. So I figure, okay, it's probably a false alarm. But then I get on Perplexity and I'm like, if there was a false alarm, how would I know? And like, why? Because I'm freaking out. Because here's the thing. Just imagine if there was a giant fire below in the condo, right? And you're like stuck up in the condo with a fire and you can't, I imagine like trying to go down the fire escape and it's like all fiery and you gotta like either run through the fire, or you just gotta freaking 9/11 that shit and jump out or like burn to death. It just seems so sketchy, right? So and because I was like already in a panic and I just woken up, I was like so paranoid and freaking out and I'm like researching like, can they just turn off the fire alarm and why would it turn off and da-da-da. So eventually I tried to sleep but I couldn't sleep. I was too scared. So I just went down and checked it out. Just looked around and checked it out. And it was fine. It was just a false alarm, kind of obviously. But here's the thing. The fire alarm systems are interesting because I didn't necessarily realize this. This maybe is obvious, but they have like a brain, right? And then all the different sensors, there's like smoke detectors and the sprinklers and sensors and heat sensors and all these different things. And then when one gets tripped, the brain shows where it's coming from, right? And what's happening. So I imagine, and then they can just shut it off or whatever. But part of me is like, I don't know if things are up to spec here, right? I'm in Jakarta. I don't know what the codes are. I don't know how robust it is. I don't know who put that in, who installed it. And it's funny because you see a lot of the workers around here, and I'm not saying they're not competent, but it's like there's dudes working on this condo, right? And it's like dudes in a tank top and flip-flops up on scaffolding, death fall heights, smoking a cig and like freaking screwing shit in. And like, it's just crazy. Like the OSHA violations are insane. So I see that kind of thing and I just go, how robust is this, fire alarm system? And so that kind of made me a little sketchy too, but I was having trouble sleeping. But when I went down to the lobby, I saw a dude kind of rush out of the fire escape, like a worker guy with like a uniform. And he smiled at me. So I was like, okay, it's probably fine. I imagine they look where the sensor went off. They can look on the cameras and then they're like, oh, there's no fire. Turn it off. Go check it. So I think that's what happened. It's probably standard procedure, but I was freaking out. And I'm just like, how many fail safes are there in place for, because like, dude, the thing is, if there is a fire and and the alarm system doesn't work, I'm like, you're screwed, bro. Just not good. So I was like doing all this freaking research into that. But if you want to look at any of these perplexity searches, you can click the link in the description and go to my blog post, and everything's linked, and you can research it yourself if you want. But that's the first thing. That was a crazy thing. So yeah, that's why I don't sleep naked at the end of the day. But anyways, okay, explain me the 6'7" meme. I still don't get it. I'm not gonna lie. So it's an internet trend the kids are doing, and they say 6'7" in response to almost any question. It doesn't mean anything. But you do this 6'7", I guess, and it apparently is from a song and it's like unrelated, but there's no fixed meaning. The whole point is that it's meaningless, which I kind of doubt that. But I'm like an old man, dude. It's like these freaking trends and these like things that the kids are saying, and I'm just like, dude, I just can't get it. What is that? So 6'7", I guess. Fuck. What is the world? What is life? Next one. This is interesting. Has U.S. Customs and Immigration been asking people about their views on Trump and Israel? Yes. I forget who told me about this, but they were going through and they got questioned. It was someone in my life. I forget who it was. But now there's multiple reports of people taking people aside and question them about their political views when they're coming into the country. Hassan Piker got interrogated for 2 hours at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. And I think it's like a security thing because of the Israel-Palestine conflict and because of Hamas and Hezbollah being like terrorist organizations. That's kind of what this is saying. But it's just kind of a little freaky, that the Border Patrol is asking you your political opinions as they're letting you into the country if you're a citizen. I get it if you're not a citizen, depending on where you're coming from. It's like, okay, whatever. But I feel like if you're a U.S. citizen, and I don't know, I mean, it's just like taking away freedoms in the pursuit of safety. It's like that's like kind of the age-old thing. But that's interesting that is real going on. So I don't necessarily like that, if I'm being honest. Next one. This is sick. Can river dolphins live in the ocean and vice versa? So I'm actually going to go with the Pareto distribution one first. So how universal is the Pareto distribution? So I was randomly thinking about this. I remember seeing a Jordan Peterson clip a long time ago about the Pareto distribution where he's like, people were, because someone was saying it's an injustice. I think they were talking about wealth inequality, right? Where like the top 1% has like 50% of the money or whatever, And Jordan Peterson was like, this is a natural phenomenon. This Pareto distribution is basically that like the official thing, if you read this, is that 20% of the inputs usually create about 80% of the outputs, right? And it's this power law distribution that's just like happens in the world. It's crazy. But Jordan Peterson was like, dude, 20% of the stars have 80% of all the mass. 20% of the rivers have 80% of all the water, etc. Like as you go through natural phenomenons, it's not steady across the board, but it's extremely common. And I'm like, that's freaking crazy. Why is that? Like, why are things that way? Like, why do things shake out that way? And I was reading, and it's just like, I think it's literally a natural phenomenon, and the reason why things go that way is literally because of the way the universe is set up, like the all the way down to physics. This is how the power distributions work, I guess. And it's so interesting, and I don't understand why, but it just is. It's crazy how many things it applies to. It's like if you have a music catalog, 20% of your songs get 80% of all the streams that you get, and that's like true with mine. I always look at my catalog. I'm like, there's a couple songs at the top that have all that get all the streams, and then most of them get no streams, and it's just weird. It's a weird phenomenon, the Pareto distribution. Anyways, so I was asking Perplexity about the rivers. I was like, is it true that like 20% of the rivers have 80% of the water? And apparently it's even worse than that. It's like 1 to 5% of the rivers have basically all the fresh water that's in any river, right? It's like there's just a few. It's Amazon, Yangtze River, and the Congo River. And those are like freaking just have all the water in them. They're just so big. And it's like they just dwarf all the rest of the rivers. And then I was thinking about the Amazon. So I was Googling the Amazon because I'm like, I want to see more pictures of this and like how big it is and like where it starts. And then these are the rabbit holes I go down to. And then I saw a picture of a dolphin in the river. And I was like, is there river dolphins? And then I was like, can dolphins go in the river and the sea? So I was Googling that and check this out. This is freaking gas. Can dolphins live in the ocean and the river? Look at this. Yes, there are river dolphins. But generally, river dolphins cannot go in the sea. They can go in the sea, but they'll die pretty quick. And same thing with sea dolphins. If a dolphin from the sea goes in the river, they can survive, but not for that long because the ecosystem, the food, their skin, like everything. But there's a couple dolphins that can do both. Double dolphins. One of them is called the Irrawaddy dolphin. Now get a load of this guy. This is the best dolphin. This is the happiest dolphin. Look at this dolphin. Come on. Look at this freaking dolphin. Come on. Look at how happy it is. Look at this. I love this dolphin, bro. This is crazy. Look at this cutie guy. Hey, guy. Happy dolphin. He's like 80% smiles, bro. Look at these happy guys. So that's the Irrawaddy dolphin. I'm so happy to have discovered it because it's so freaking cute. Look at this guy. It's like a Pokemon. Look at how happy it is. Hi. Crazy. Anyway, so that dolphin apparently can go in the sea and the river and be fine. So that's the Irrawaddy dolphin. You're welcome. Let's go to the next thing. Has Ryan Graves been discredited? So this is a UFO thing. Ryan Graves was a pilot, and his squadron is famous for recording the Go Fast UFO video and the gimbal UFO video, where they just freaking on their sensors see these crazy objects that just boo, and they move weird, they're shaped weird, they have no signs of propulsion or heat or anything, and they act really weird, and it's this crazy phenomenon. They're some of the most famous UFO videos. And it's just verified by the military. And this guy, Ryan Graves, had talked about the experiences where he didn't film it himself, but his squadron did. So he knew about it and everything and saw it when they filmed it and everything. But I was watching the Danny Jones podcast and they were talking about those videos. And Danny Jones said, I'm very skeptical of those videos and Ryan Graves. And I'll tell you why after the podcast. And like, he didn't want to say it on air, like something about Ryan Graves like discredited him. That's what it sounded like. So I was looking up if Ryan Graves has been discredited, and apparently he hasn't publicly. There's nothing came out publicly that he was like lying or anything sketchy. So I don't know what he was talking about. I wish he would have said it on the podcast because I'm like, those videos are extremely compelling and freaking crazy. So who knows what's going on with the UFO world? Not me. And then last thing here. Why is the job market in Sierra Leone so bad? So this is interesting. I'm going to get into this in other videos, but I started my email marketing funnel and I had some of the ads going to worldwide. So it just delivers to whoever in the world that puts their email in the ad to get my ebook. Anyways, and then there's like a series of emails, but for whatever reason, it was going in Sierra Leone a bunch. I'm getting all these emails from people. I have no job. I can't get a job. I need help, blah, blah, blah. I can't feed my family. I need a job. There's no jobs here, da, da, da. Just like a lot. And I was like, what the heck is this? So I was looking into it, and Sierra Leone is in West Africa. And apparently there was a civil war for a while. 11-year civil war devastated Sierra Leone's economy, weakened the private sector, delayed infrastructure rebuilding, blah, blah, blah. So it's just this crazy thing where it's like, people, well, they didn't get, a lot of them didn't get education while the Civil War was going on, and the education they did get doesn't help them in the job market that much. It's not that practical of skills. And then the thing is too, it's like the infrastructure is bad, right? So it makes it hard for businesses to grow and scale. And if people have no money, they're not buying shit. So it's like, if you start a business, how can you sell it if no one has any money? You can't sell stuff if no one has any money to buy stuff, right? So it's like this sad situation. And man, I haven't fully processed it. Like all these desperate people being like, help me. I'm just like, oh my God, take what we have for granted so much, at least me. So that's interesting, but that's sad, man. I'm just like, frick. And now I'm thinking all about like how to like why is the job market bad, and like what would be the best businesses to do, and what are the main businesses and industry in Sierra Leone, and like what's going on there. But 70% of the youth are unemployed there. So that's it's so crazy how you just bitch about like wherever you're at. Like it's crazy how, and I'm just as guilty as anyone else, but it's like you complain about your job. People are like, I hate my job. Fucking have to go to work. Damn it. And there's all these other people like, I need a job. I can't eat. I have no food and my family's starving and I just need a job. Right. And then in the West, we're just like, I hate working job. I hate my job. Job is the worst, and it's like, there's people that are just like literally dying for any job. It's so crazy. So yeah. What a world we live in. Okay. So that's it for this, for what I'm wondering about. If you want to see the rest of my weekly update, you can click the link in the description to go to my blog. I talk about what I'm doing this week. I got a music video shoot, and I have all these life updates, like what I've been watching, what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, music. I do a photo dump of my life because I'm retired from social media. So if you want to keep up to date with me and see what's going on in my life, you can check out that post. And then at the bottom, there's a subscriber section. If you're a paid subscriber, you get early access to like new music, my new vlogs, videos, kind of whatever I'm doing. And then also a video like this of me walking through the entire post and just talking about the photos and what's going on in my life and the more personal aspects that I just share with my paid subscribers and community. And then there's also a link if you want to book a one-on-one video call with me. It's free just to talk about this or any topics. I'm always talking about like Bible stuff and stuff I read in the Bible. And I don't know, a lot of these searches sometimes are like controversial or whatever. So if you just want to talk or whatever, that's all in the section, the subscriber section. But the rest of the post is all free. If you just click the link to subscribe, it'll just go in your email each week, and that's how you keep up to date with me. And yeah, so this is what I do every week. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.